I had three big epiphanies at this Vipassana I just did, and I want to tell you all about them. So, I've got to kind of tell you the lead up to my Vipassana though. Before I went into this 10-day meditation, I spent some time with a friend of mine who I've known for a couple of years. And she was going through like a tough time with a guy she was seeing, and yeah, so I was just kind of like there for her. And during that week, we became closer friends. You know, like we hadn't spent a week together ever, so we learned more about each other. And yeah, by the end of it, like there was really good vibes between us. We were closer friends, so it was cool. And so I went into that meditation just kind of thinking about the week I just had with this person, and just like happy with it, you know, just it felt like a good week. And on the second day of my meditation, I realized that like I don't know how I started thinking about it, but I realized that this person reminded me of my first like proper girlfriend. And this girl, like my first proper girlfriend, I loved her so much. We were like 14, 15 or something. And we were together on and off for like a couple of years. But I adored this person, like adored her. I was so in love with her. And I just started thinking about her, which is not what you're meant to do when you meditate, but I was thinking. And I had this massive epiphany where, you know, I was thinking about her and how much I loved her, and I realized all the girlfriends I've had since, I haven't felt the same about. You know, like I've loved them, you know, in certain ways or whatever, but I've never felt that that full on like love like that I had with that girl, you know. And so I started thinking, wow, like I didn't never really thought about it before, and I kind of thought at 14 or 15 I set the bar up here, like right up here, and since then I've not stayed with a girlfriend for even a year. Like I got close to a year a few times, but I haven't even had a year-long girlfriend. And I kind of wondered, I'm like, what's with me, man? Like, you know, I get to, well, so I realized what happened. So usually, like, you know, I like a girl, my cool potential, you know, like this could grow into something. And then I give it about 6 months. And if by 6 months, it's not like, you know, and this was subconscious, but if it's not to like where, or at least moving in the direction of where I was with my first girlfriend, then I guess on some level I'm just like, well, if having that amazing love is possible, and I'm not feeling like it's gonna get there with this person, then I'd rather just let this go and try again with someone else. And so that's what I've done over and over again for, yeah, all these years. Like, you know, I'm 29 now, so 14 years since. So why did I set the bar so high when I was so young? Anyway, yeah, it was really interesting. And the second thing that happened was that, yeah, like, it was interesting because it kind of gave me a realization into maybe a foundational issue of, or a foundational reason of why these relationships, yeah, haven't lasted or whatever. Anyway, it was interesting for me. But then I realized that this person who I'd spent the week with, just before my Vipassana, she reminded me, I was thinking about it, I was like, oh my god, she reminds me of my first girlfriend. You know, like in different ways, just personality traits and things like that. I'm like, whoa, she reminds me of my first girlfriend. And then I got super weird, and I went, oh my god, maybe there could be, like, maybe I need to find someone like my first girlfriend to have that kind of strong, like, you know, like that's that same kind of love again. And so I just imagining, like just rolling in my imagination, just thinking about this person and what it would be like to be more than friends with her, and just like creating this whole life, man, like just going through it, like, right, so we get together, we can live here, you know, we'll do this, and you know, like everything, man, just like marriage and baby and like all that, like just going for it in my mind. So funny to think about now. And I was super excited because like, oh my God, like, wow, it could be like with my first girlfriend, you know, and no one has ever reminded me of my first girlfriend before. So it was all like super weird. But yeah, I was just rolling, you know, like, because you're at this place, there's nothing for you to do except for meditate. Like, you got no phone, you got no TV, you're not allowed to talk or even look at anyone, you're not allowed to read, you're not allowed to write. So, you know, like, in the meditation's very confronting, so a lot of the time you kind of just want to think to escape, you know, like, so you play in your mind, like, imagination. So that's what I was doing, because I didn't, like, you know, I was trying to kind of avoid meditation because it's so confronting. Anyway, and so I'm rolling in it with this girl, like, making up this whole thing. 7 days I did that. I'd do my meditation, and then I'd be like, all right, I'm going to treat myself now to thinking about this person, and, you know, just having some, like, you know, having fun in my imagination. And, yeah, 7 days I did that for, right? And then, thankfully, every night there's a 1 hour discourse where a video is played of a guy who's talking about the theory of the technique, why it works, how it works, and, you know, he's talk theory. And he tells stories. And he tells this story. And the story goes that there's this painter, and he paints this portrait of a woman. And he falls in love with the woman. He loves her, and people are like, man, what are you talking about? It's just a painting. And he's like, no, I love her so much. I'm so in love. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And he paints a picture of a monster. And he hates the monster. He can't stand the monster. He can't be around it. He's so afraid of the monster. And everyone's like, it's just a painting, man. And he's going, no, I can't be around the monster. And, you know, like, we would think someone like that had mental problems. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we all do. That's what I was doing the whole time. I'm painting pictures in my mind, right? I'm painting pictures, and then I'm reacting to them. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, that was so good. Or something, paint a bad picture. I'm like, oh no, I feel so bad. And it's all in my head. None of it's real, but it's giving me real reactions. You know, in the moment, I'm reacting to it as if it's actually happening, and it's not. It's just a story I'm playing in my mind. So I made up all this story, and so I realized, holy shit, that's me. I'm painting pictures and reacting to them, and the reacting is, you know, like, creating suffering, because I'm having all these good sensations that I want to keep happening, which won't because they're impermanent. Or I'm creating bad pictures. Oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? And I'm reacting, you know, negatively. Like, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, that's the habit pattern of the mind. So I have this epiphany, and I'm like, that's what I've been doing. I'm not doing that no more. Day 8, next day, I don't do it. I'm just doing my, you know, I'm not thinking about this person no more. I'm doing my meditation, but I'm still thinking. And then day 8 discourse, the dude doing the speech kind of thing, he says, you are so addicted to thinking. You're so addicted to it. It's like a drug, you know? And I was like, I am so addicted to thinking. I've been thinking this whole week. What's going on here? I've been thinking this whole week about this and about that and about that, and I'm using it like a drug. I'm like, I should meditate. Oh, I'll just think for 5 more minutes. You know, I'll just have a few more good feelings, and then I'll do my meditation. You know, I look forward to, I'm like, yeah, later I can think when I'm not meditating. You know, like, I'm looking forward to the high, you know, the feeling I get from having all these thoughts and, you know, playing in my mind. He said, you're so addicted. I'm like, you're right. I am totally addicted to it. I don't want to be addicted to it. I'm there to come out of my suffering. I'm there to come out of my habit patterns that I'm creating in my mind of reacting to things and of cravings and aversion. I'm there to come out of that. And instead, just by pure ignorance of not understanding what I'm doing, I was multiplying all that. because I thought, oh yeah, I'll do my meditation, then I'll go treat myself to thinking, but it's not a treat. It's like saying, oh yeah, I've worked hard this week, so I've eaten healthy this week, so I'll go have McDonald's tonight. It's like, that's not a treat, man. Like, that's disgusting for your body. You're not actually treating yourself. So I'm not treating myself with all these thoughts. And so I realized that. I'm like, all right, I want to come out of I don't want to keep multiplying. Like, I'm sitting here to meditate and I'm making more work for myself. So I started, when my thoughts would come, I just go, nah, and just go to the sensation. Because when you're aware what's going on, you got a bit more motivation to do the technique properly. And anyway, so by doing that, I'd lost a lot of the attachment I had to this whole fantasy I'd created with this person who is not even, like, she's just my friend. And I lost a lot of the attachment to it. And previously, up to like the first 7 days, I was so excited to, get out of there, and maybe she'd message me, or I could message her, or whatever. Like, I was super excited about that. And so anyway, day 10, meditation's finished. Get my phone, it's dead, so I'm charging it up, and I'm thinking, before I was so excited, then I was like, oh, I could wait for it to turn on, but actually I'm just gonna cruise, get some brekkie, just kind of testing myself, like how attached I am. I'm like, nah, I'll look at it later. Get some brekkie, I come back, and expecting a message or two or whatever. No message. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was a little bit surprised, because she's like quite an impulsive person, so I figured when she had like a like a craving or like an inkling to message me, she just would have boom done it. So I thought, oh, that was a bit, like, I was a bit shocked, because like we had a really good week together. So I thought, yeah, that's all good. And then I thought, oh, what's going on her Facebook? Like, what's she been doing? Because she's having trouble with this guy. But the day that the day that I went into Vipassana, she went back to see him, and like maybe try to work things out and whatever. So I thought, oh, I wonder if, what happened. And I go to a Facey just to check it out. And the first thing I see, right, this is so, like, you cannot make this up, eh? The first thing I see was a picture of her with the guy. And they're standing next to a pram, like holding a pram, and it says, "We're expecting." And I was just like, wow. Like, it was just like the universe just backhanded me and just said, see, like, all that time you were thinking, that whole story you played out in your head for days. See how pointless that was? And it wasn't just pointless, it was worse than pointless, because it was multiplying my habit of craving and aversion. So it was worse than pointless. And I just couldn't believe it, like, of all the things, it'd only been 10 days. Anyway, upon further investigation, I realised that it was, like, they were just having a joke or whatever, something like that. So it wasn't actually legit. But anyway, like, the damage was done. Like, I felt this real strong sensation. And it was like an uncomfortable sensation, because there was still obviously some attachment there and whatever. And thankfully, there was a 1-day course on the day that we all finished. There was another 1-day course on, and I was like, I need to do a little bit more meditation. So I joined the course, did another 6 hours. But basically, these epiphanies were huge for me, because I learned 3 big things. I learned that, like, I remembered about this love I had, and why my bar is set so high with relationships I'm in. So that was pretty cool to finally realize that after such a long time. And then I learned about how pointless it is to create these ideas in our head and to react to them as if they're reality. So yeah, I've been painting a lot less pictures in my mind since then, just being aware of that. And thirdly, I realized how addicted to thinking I was. And I didn't know I was addicted to thinking. Like, I knew I thought all the time, compulsively, whatever, but yeah, like, I didn't know that I deliberately wanted to go and think, because I was addicted to having these cravings and having these thoughts and thinking about all this good stuff, make me feel good and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, 3 big things. Oh, and something else that's kind of funny is, like, on that painting picture, the painting picture story, I've heard that 4 other times. I've done this course 5 times now, the 10-day one. And I've heard that story 4 other times. And every other time I've heard it, it didn't resonate with me at all. Almost everything the dude says resonates on some level. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, I get that, I can relate. That story has never resonated with me at all. And this time it was the loudest thing I heard in 10 days. So it's just interesting as you progress in the technique and you go deeper, or you're in a different place in your life, how you hear things differently, and different things make sense in different ways to you and resonate differently. So anyway, they were my 3 epiphanies. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching my vid, and stay tuned for more.